After not the result you're after, obviously, what are your initial thoughts now?
Yeah, just a disappointing night. Lost too many easy balls. Lost too many easy balls, especially our front third players just gave it up too easily, and then you sort of play into their hands, which is play on transition, and realistically, that's what they do well. So if you're not going to keep the ball well and you're going to cough it up easily and you're not going to compete in the duels, you'll end up with that type of game, and that's the type of game that suits them and necessarily doesn't suit us. So disappointing.
Because you beat the Mariners obviously recently. Either is that a lack of execution tonight? Do you put that down to it sort of with Mariners a lot better? What out of those two?
Look, I think there's a lot of reasons. Like they've still created good chances. So like I said, I always respect the opponent, regardless. Like they've created good chances. We've had good chances. Becker's had one cleared off the line and another one in the 6-yard box that we miss. It's a really interesting penalty. Given, I think their second goals, that's a good goal. I think the first goal, he executes it well, but when you're coughing up the ball under no pressure, like I said, you're going to be open to that. I think this game for Newcastle, not talking about Central Coast now, we probably lost it on Friday night, to be honest. Not tonight, because we're putting our club in compromised positions. We lost Brandon O'Neill because of a pitch. Not me, the opposition coach called it a cow paddock on Friday night. And tonight's pitch wasn't much better, to be honest. So the league needs to look at why there were games being played on this pitch prior to beginning, and didn't allow it to have the kind of role that it deserves. So we can go round and round in circles. But to be honest, I don't know, mate. To be honest, I'm not even interested in doing that. I just, like I said, it's a disappointing night. My players worked to the end. They worked to the end. They kept fighting. They wanted a goal, which meant also that in the end we were open on transition as it would progress regardless, because to lose 1-0, for me it's the same. We might as well keep going and try to keep getting back in the game, and we did, and left spaces, and they took advantage of it.
Alright, obviously Reno had just returned back from injury. Were you happy with his performance tonight?
Yeah, I thought Reno comes on and he gives us, the intention to want to always have the ball under any situation, under any type of pressure. So, we tried to not protect him a bit, but try to have him a little bit more central. Hopefully he could combine a bit, and we'd create some opportunities through, which we did. But like I said, they defended the box very well for the most part as well, and were desperate.
And what are you looking to improve on ahead of next week's game against Adelaide?
Look, just get better outcomes. I mean, we've got to be stronger. We've got to want to compete more in the duels as well. I mean, the amount of times we got fouled and hit, to be honest, then we'll go down the track of referees. But we just need to compete more when things aren't going our way, and also make sure that we're stronger when you're receiving the ball under pressure or proposed pressure.
After Jim Gardner here, sorry, I had car trouble, couldn't get down there. That's 15 goals, obviously you can see now. Is that, when you do press higher, when you do press so high up the pitch, and if you don't win the ball, there is that spacing behind, or is it something you may have to adjust, or is that what you're going to keep getting better and better at?
Well, Jimmy, out of 15 goals, 50% are in 2 games, and the other 50% are across 6 games. So I don't think fundamentally that's a consistency across all games. I think there's 2 games where we've been hurt properly, and tonight's one of them. In the end, we've got to get better at what we do every day. But like I said, it first starts with the ability to compete under pressure with the ball. And like I said, if you've got a front line that are all having around 60% accuracy with their passing, well, every team's going to be able to expose you on transition because you're giving it up too easily. So I think the bigger picture for us is that we need to be better at keeping the ball with our attacking players, and they need to hurt teams more.
You mentioned the pitch the other night, and I imagine, was that why some of those changes to the squad were made tonight, to manage people's loads? And will you look at that again with Adelaide in only 4 or 5 days' time?
Adelaide's 6 days away, so that's the obviously we've had 3 games in 10 days, but so have they. Like I said, as a club, as an organisation, we didn't do ourselves any favours on Friday night by putting a pitch that, realistically we've hurt one of our key players just by getting his leg caught in the pitch on Friday night. So that's disappointing. And yeah, we rotated a little bit because in the end, you know, there was some sore bodies from that pitch as well, and we didn't have the luxury of time.
For all the, you're obviously disappointed and there's some negatives coming out tonight, but Daniel Steins in that first half, inroads he made down the left, he was able to create a couple of chances for you, mate. Are you impressed with the way he's developing?
Yeah, I think there's more. I mean, in the end, we want to get to the point where, you know, instead of threatening, there's execution, and that's the most important part. So when you're getting into the box, you don't hesitate. The last pass is the most important pass, so it's got to be correct. And you know, he's contributing. And like I said, you know, the score's 3-0, but at 1-0, they're saving one off the line. It goes back to 1-1. You know, and we've got the ascendancy at that period in the game. And if you don't take your chances against a team that's, you know, basically a counter-attacking team, that's the risk that you take today.
The one thing is the ladder's still very tight. I think prior to this game there was 2 points between third and you guys in 10th. But over the next 3 weeks, we'll probably start to take shape. I mean, how does it change the way you go about things? Does it change the urgency of getting some points out of tough trips to Adelaide and then hosting Sydney, who are another big team? I mean, the next month is really going to be a sort of important part of the season.
Well, every game's important, every day's important. Nothing changes. I don't understand the concept of you need to change something. As it stands, you know, we're 1 point outside the 6. You know, if we're talking about a Newcastle Jets team after 8 games at 1 point outside the 6, I think, you know, we'd all embrace that. The reality of the league is that it's very tight. It's very tight. You can be last place and you can be 4th place within 1 game, and that's the reality of this league at the moment. Which means the league, you know, it's very even. It's very even. We were here 10 days ago. We won, and everyone's saying how good we are. Well, we haven't fundamentally changed over 10 days. Tonight we haven't been at our best tonight, and they've been at their best. And in the end, that's the outcome of the game. Still really optimistic about what this group can do. That's not going to change. We need to maybe possibly, you know, look into the marketing drain, but I'm not sure if we can. I mean, you know, everyone understands I think everyone understands the reality of what our structure is and the ability to make changes to possibly, you know, improve the team in 1 or 2 areas. If that's available to us, then that would be a big difference, because there's teams below us. As an example, Perth Glory, who are actively signing, you know, possible Socceroo players, and that means they're ambitious and they've got ambitious owners who really want to, you know, make a step up. And yeah, we want the same, because that's what I think, you know, our community and our people deserve.
So I mean, the latest I heard on the ownership was that it possibly could be done in January. It sounds like it's sooner the better for you. I mean, but you're hoping that's not too late before the window is a bit later this year, but you would like that to be done so you could be active in the transfer window?
Look, I've been pretty consistent since day one. I think we all got to be very, very grateful to the people that have actually kept this club alive. That's the first thing, and I've maintained that since day one. This club wouldn't be around if it wasn't for some people that really care about, you know, the sport as a whole, to make sure that this club stayed alive. Of course, in the end, you know, you want to thrive, not just survive. And I feel, you know, we've done a really good job to build, you know, some identity, competitiveness from where we started. And ultimately, you know, does that mean if new owners come in that, you know, fundamentally will be different? I'm not even sure, to be honest. I just think that, you know, if you can mix passion and investment together, you're on a pretty good track, you know. And I think, like I said, we've had investment, and you need passion that comes with it, and I'm extremely passionate about coaching this club, so that won't change, and new owners will decide the direction that they want to go and how far they want to compete.
Well, what areas would you like to strengthen if you did have the opportunity to bring someone in January? Would it be middle of the park? Would it be up front or final third, I'm imagining? Or
Oh, look, they're discussions that if they happen, because if you think too far ahead, you know, like I said, I've got a lot of belief in the group that we've got, and I know that, you know, there's some areas that I think, you know, we can always get better. But our job at the moment is to get the best out of this group, and they're working hard. And like I said, you know, I can only praise them, because in the 94th minute they're still trying to score a goal, and the risk of conceding is there still and going forward, but they're still working to try to score a goal. So, you know, it's a terrific group, and I don't turn on my players. That's just the reality. I take responsibility for what happens out there, and if change was to come, then, you know, hopefully be part of that and make sure that it gives us the chance to elevate even higher.
Okay, mate, thank you. I'm done.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Hey Arthur, it's George Clark here from AOP. Just one from me, mate. Like, people will look at the last couple of results. I think it's one win in the last 6 or so. They'll look at that in isolation. But what are kind of the green shoots you're seeing?
Sorry, George. What's the?
You know, people will look at the recent run and maybe say, you know, that you've only won one in the last 6. I think it is. In isolation, that doesn't necessarily look great. But what are the green shoots you're seeing in the way you're playing?
Look, I actually see improvement, and you know, the results are thief, because in the end, the result's going to tell you that no matter what happened tonight, it was only a poor performance. Overall, you know, in the key moments, we weren't good enough. There's some things that happened out on that pitch tonight that I'm scratching my head about in terms of officiating. And overall, you know, we just got to get together tomorrow and start again and not lose belief. I don't lose belief, to be honest. Like, that's just me in general. You know, I'm pretty confident about, you know, what needs to happen. But, you know, that's just part of the job, George.